time has come. It's been a fantastic couple of years, but as we all know, all good things must come to an end. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm pretty sure some of you are already using Firefox, and it's a very good browser, secure browser. A lot of coders are using it, and the reason everybody it's using it is because it's a open source. However, a couple of days ago, Firefox decided to add their terms of use. And now, with the terms of use, which that was never the case, Firefox never had a term of use, but it came in effect since 28th of February this year. So as you can read here, Firefox it's a free open source web browser, blah blah blah, built by a company of thousands from all over the world. And now the terms that has to do with Mozilla Corporation, and they're actually telling us to read the privacy notice, which has changed. But what's interesting is that some companies, and most companies that started to build from small and end up being big, they start to, level with the rest of the big gamers like uh, Google Chrome, like Microsoft Edge, Apple, what have you, right? So we now only get certain rights and permission, which is quite funny since this is a open source project, right? Everybody knows that it's an open source, and they are also saying that it's still open source. But when you add this and then they're saying this, it doesn't really make any sense. To make it worse is that we give now Mozilla certain rights and permissions, which means content, browsing data, locations, certain personal details will be shared within the Firefox privacy. So that's a breach of privacy. It doesn't matter if they say it's open source. Well, guess what? It's not. And the community actually started to voice their opinions, and the backlash is real. It's real because after a couple of days, they pretty much made an update, and they are telling users that it seems like it's a little confusion about the language regarding licenses, so they want to clear that up. They need a license to allow them to make some of the basic functions of Firefox possible. Without it, they cannot, use information typed into Firefox like I don't know, maybe targeted ads, maybe in certain geos or in Europe or in US, the term of use should be different. In Europe, we have something called GDPR. I don't know in US what it is, right? So they are introducing the term of use to make it compliant with certain geos. But Firefox didn't have this issue up till now, up till 28th of February when they made terms of use effective, right? And that's a very good and valid question. At the end of the day, when a company decides to go to the to change their approach, they cannot, keep on saying we are open source. Yes, the Mozilla project is still open source, but Firefox itself, I don't know, it's not what it used to be. A lot of restrictions that are baked into those terms of use. I don't know, maybe some people will be affected than the others. The crazy part is, in these terms of use, if we scroll a little bit more down, we have this one here, which is they can update or terminate this agreement. And by update, the terms means that whenever they feel like it, they may decide to update these terms, and they will post the updates online, right? And pretty much they will take our continued use of Firefox as acceptance of such changes, even though we might not get notification, right? Because you never get notification from a browser. Sometimes Google had that terms and condition. Click here to accept or whatever. Or when you manually update Chrome, you still get the new terms of and conditions or terms of use or whatever. And with Mozilla, we never seen that. So I'm pretty curious to see how this will evolve. And the most important part is the termination. So apparently those terms will apply until either you as a user or me or Mozilla decide to end them, right? So you can choose to end them by at any time for any reason by stopping your use of Firefox. Now, yeah, that's kind of funny. They don't have a I don't know internet police that will stop me using Mozilla if I want to download I don't know something dodgy or whatever the case is. They can potentially track, but they cannot uninstall Mozilla from my PC. And there is nothing they can do to stop me unless they go, the rabbit hole of contacting each country's ISPs or Geo's ISPs and to block that. I don't know, to block that just for one or two users that might not play by their playbook, right? So that's pretty dumb from them. And in this response, obviously, you can read more about it. I'm going to leave the links, but this pretty much tells me that it's time for me to move on from Mozilla. I had a blast using it, but just because of this little small thing, maybe for the normal user, this is nothing, that will change their way they're browsing the internet. But for other users that are using Mozilla not just for browsing, um, and you use pretty much, I know people that are using it to code HTML, and the console is better than the Google one if you press F12, right? Um, but yeah, I always use in parallel Chrome, and also I have Brave. Right now, I fully switch on Brave. It's a little bit more private. Let's see how Brave will perform. But I mean, performance-wise, it's not that different from Chrome and Mozilla. Anyway, all those three are better than Microsoft Edge, and that's just my opinion. Don't shoot the messenger. What I'm gonna say is that Mozilla is gone from my day-to-day use just because of this, excuse my French, crap that they call terms of use. You cannot have a term of use and then tell us that uh, we can update the terms, and if you continue to use our browser, pretty much you accept those terms, whatever they may be, and termination. They can terminate us, or we can terminate ourselves by not using or uninstalling, which is pretty much dumb, but whatever. And then to throw another slap on the face, on the other cheek, as we say, we are responsible for the consequences of our use of Firefox. Who cares, bro? Like, it's a browser. People are using it for development, people are using it for browsing, and you now are pushing those terms just to feed your ego and to get your bottom line, which is what? Well, targeted ads, right? The only reason they're gonna have these terms and conditions is so they can selling our data, whatever, like Google is doing it, right? For years, decades, same as Microsoft Edge. So at the end of the day, for the average user, this might not be a big change, but for the rest of us that are in the development field and we like to play along with a little bit of HTML and do other stuff with Firefox, Mozilla, right? We pretty much are sick and tired. Well, I am sick and tired of this. It's not the first time they are trying to pull this. I remember it happening a couple of years back, but then they backpedal, and then for a couple of years up to 28th of February, nothing was said. we didn't have any updates. They worked on development, WebSockets, what have you. And what's interesting to read, it's on this update. In addition to the terms of use, they are providing more detailed explanation of their data practice, which if you click on it, just for the shits and giggles, excuse my French, how is our data is. And if you want to read, I already did, is the same copy paste from Google and Microsoft Edge, with a small caveat that they are still trying to maintain that, oh, we are open source and we are doing this just because of certain geos, and in other countries the advertisement is still considered paid, and yada yada yada. They are trying to make more money. That's their bottom line. But that being said, after 12 or maybe 13 years of using Firefox for browsing and for other stuff, a couple of days I decided to uninstall it and move on. And I'm not saying I'm using only Firefox, because I'm using it for 13 years. But on the side, I always used Chrome, and now I'm gonna start using uh, Brave more, because it's a little bit more secure until they're gonna have something similar, and we will see what other open source projects we might have. But for now, I'm gonna stick with Brave, doing stuff that I wanna do, and I'm gonna have Chrome on the side to do my normal shenanigans browser. Now, this is it from me today. Sorry for the rant, but I had to take it out there. There are a lot of content creators that are pissed, and for a good reason. But it is what it is. When you want to make money, you have to do this kind of sacrifices. Well, for them, it's not really a sacrifice. They are sacrificing users for their gain. But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Now, if you like the video, please leave a like. If you dislike, please dislike. And I hope to see you next time. Have a good one.